wanted to start off today with the Chinese curse that runs, may you live in interesting times, which certainly is what this period of the ascension is. And sometimes it seems, looking how simpler it was back 15, 20 years ago when there was only really 3D that anybody was aware of. And a couple of points is the ascension process itself isn't pretty. Everything is kind of collapsing around you. You lose friends. Sometimes you need to distance yourself from family. And it isn't a bus ride. If you're sitting around waiting for the bus to leave, you'll be there waiting a long time. It's not a bus stop. It's more like an ultra marathon. And ascension takes no prisoners. It's not going to slow down. It's up to you, really, how you face it. And the ascension process will accept a 99% casualty rate if that's what it takes. It doesn't. Everybody comes along, but it's really sort of keeps moving forward. It never stops. And it's like they say the labor of contractions is. Once a woman starts to have a baby, the contractions, once they start, it doesn't stop till it's all done. And we're literally being birthed into a new world. And ascension also accelerates. It's riding the energy waves bigger and faster. And early on, you have these sort of breaks in between the major issues. But over time, the space that in between these various things that you have to deal with, the space contracts, and eventually, just as you reach the most painful parts of the journey, it seems like it's a constant flow. And it pushes you out of your comfort zone and always takes you somewhere that scares you. And that's actually its job. That's the job of the process. It's always a step out of limitation that you're going through. And fear and dealing with going through repressed fears and into a brave new world. Grace, however, the good news is that grace is available 24/7 during the process. And grace becomes necessary through the process. And I suspect it may not be possible to reach your goal without developing it. Grace comes when you surrender. Hello.
Keep going. It's fine.
Okay. Skype made a funny noise, you know.
Chloe just dropped off the call. We'll bring her back.
Oh, okay. So surrendering doesn't mean that you're giving in. It means that you're fully accepting where you are without judgment. Question is, can you love who you are and where you are in the middle of the deepest crisis? When you do, things get very interesting. And that was kind of my comments from the ascension process.
No, those are excellent points, very true to heart, and this is exactly what we all need to be mindful of. You know, this is a time of reckoning. This is the darkest hour. This is, as Chloe would put it on her transmissions, the dark night of the soul. You know, the Buddhist monks, the Jesuit priests, the sadhus of India, all meditate during the darkest hour to find their solace, to confront their fears, to tune themselves to their higher self. You know, in this time that we are challenged to move forward. And the universal law is that as we move forward, you know, in our prayers, our visions of manifestation, in our wishes for peace and prosperity, as an individual, as a soul essence here, we are given opportunity in the form of challenges. Because the first thing that's going to come forth is all of these elements that are keeping us from it. As we move forward, we are passing through the fire. You know, we will arise as phoenix. But the cleansing process is owning and coming to terms with all that we're holding on to that no longer serves us, the mind control, the pain and suffering and the slavery that we have been indoctrinated into needs to be faced, needs to be reckoned with. We need to come to terms, find our conviction, find our strength and courage to face the fear and to replace it with a structure of belief and sovereignty that we will move forward as one. But the journey starts from within. You have to make this commitment to no longer serve this dysfunctional mind that has been controlling us, and to take control of your free will and choice. It is a cleansing process here. It is a release. And to find the strength and courage is to seek within. Roosevelt said it once, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. This came at a time when the nation was brought to its knees through the Depression. And it really was an oppression that we have been experiencing for a microsecond, but in reality, we've been experiencing oppression for thousands of years. We are now given for the first time in galactic history an opportunity to move forward. But we have to move forward as one. And the commitment has to be true. And you have to surrender to all that you have thought to be, all that you've held true. But when you really look to see what you're holding on to is pain and suffering and indoctrination and this AI through our psychological abuse that has brought us to this point in time. But we're giving the blessings of our true soul essence to end all contracts, all suffering, and to do the 180 and to move forward. And the challenges, as Conrad had pointed out, is to face your fears, to find this belief that we are ascending into a more prosperous and more loving expression of who we are that we can then share as one. And we move forward as one. Anyway, that was beautiful, Conrad. Thank you. Jessica, do you have any repose here?
Well, I think that as we're all working together as a group, all contributing as we do, we each have a piece. We're each carrying the essence and the God essence of who we are. We're all interconnected. And as more of us move into this field of expression, and we can lift each other up during the process. We can help each other. And, just like people were worried about what's going over in Standing Rock and some of the decisions of Trump, to go in there and to proceed, let's band together in consciousness and awaken all of those that are involved in any of these type of activities. The earth has undergone enough aggression and abuse regarding our natural environment and how we're taking care of things. And so collectively, we are ascending, the earth is ascending with us, all of it's together. And so instead of just being warriors over it, we are light workers bringing in this type of energy where we're all of one mind, in sync, knowing that we are deserving of a higher experience and that we are bringing it into reality and holding on to the highest potential for humanity, as Andronicus says.
As aptly put, this is a time where we have to join together. And as is pointed out, we can't do this alone. We're not meant to do it alone. We're not meant to heal ourselves. Healing comes when we are opening our hearts and surrendering are vindications of fear. But we don't have to do this alone. There are higher aspects of ourselves. There is our soul family and soul group. There are guardian angels. There are astrals. There are our lineage is there. Just have to open ourselves up. So this, as I said, is a 180. You start to let go of your isolation and start to opening up to a more divine sense of being. We will be guided. We just have to ask. We have to surrender. We don't have to be, there's no point to prove here. We all are here in this together. And I had been reviewing your recent videos, Chloe. You had a really nice expose on fear. And I know, is it Melchizedek?
Yes.
Melchizedek had also brought in a paradigm of what's to come over the next 3 months, and being able to transcend fear. And I'd like to share your opinion, your views, and your understanding and insights on this topic, if you will, broaching fear, and then how we're going to be able to how it's affecting us at this time in this next 3 months, because I found that very appropriate. Because people are always looking to the future for answers, but there are no answers. It's more or less preparing ourselves for what is to manifest, which is beyond our anything that we could possibly conceive. But in this preparation, we will be going through various stages over the next three months. If you can share with us any insights that you might have on this, we'd be appreciated.
Sure. First of all, can you hear me well?
You're perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, in regard to fear, as I explained on the video, I have a pretty personal and intimate relationship with fear after I received a, kind of a impulsive channel from fear months and months ago. It might have even been a year ago. And it came in the form of, its illusionary body, I guess I'll say. And it was in this state of just deep anguish. And it as it channeled, the energy, its emotion moved through me of just how sad and desperate fear feels, because it's trapped. It's locked in our illusion, just like, we're enslaved to the illusion, though it's conscious of what's happening. And fear is a being or an entity, whatever you want to call it or refer to it as, that is extremely intimate with each and every one of us. And fear knows us through and through, like one of our guides or our angels. Though the difference is that fear definitely doesn't get acknowledged. And so it's constantly taken advantage of or abused or invoked, but then kind of, cast out. And so because of this really odd experience that fear embodies, and it's only here to be an ultimate teacher for us. So, it deeply desires to transcend, just like we do, into its higher self courage. And so, as it's always been, though, since the veils are so thin now, fear is very dedicated to working with us individually to help us transcend its essence within us all. Because, I think most of us on this call know that fear is the root of all our insecurities and most of our illusion, and we're scared to even find our fear. So it's a very interesting dynamic, though it's patiently waiting, just like Earth Mother and our guides, to be able to transcend, though it cannot do it until we've all done it. So, fear is kind of at a point where it's ready to work with us in any way it needs to help us release it so that it can graduate.
Let me unmute here. So it's almost an essence unto itself. It's almost like a portal or a gateway. In order to pass, we must confront our fears. And in understanding this, we can understand, as you had pointed out in your video, it's an agent of change. It's actually an opportunity. It manifests as insecurity. Fear might have a bad rap. It manifests as insecurity. It manifests as insecurity. It manifests as fear of loss. It manifests as a fear of pain and suffering. But in its intent and purpose, it's there to challenge us and to find in its reverse polarity or contrast, it is strength and courage. We just have labeled it in the old paradigm, the old 3D matrix. Fear can be pain and suffering. As I said, it could be a fear of the unknown. It's because we're disconnected, because we don't have this sovereign sense of our authentic self, which has come to terms and understanding of who we are and why we're here. Being able to join as one. So in understanding that it is an agent of change, we look to it now as our strength and courage, because it is with our strength and courage that we can draw conviction, that we can have integrity, that we can have truth. So on one side, we have this this true sense of self, reflecting this burnished armor that we move forth, knowing that we are protected. And we hold our sword of integrity and conviction as and we're not talking about going into battle here, but it just shows our standard of strength. The sword is not for cutting or for slicing or dicing here. It is showing our true sense of self as far as our strength. And as we move away from this vindication, fear then becomes we integrate it as an opportunity and challenge that it's showing us. If you're seeing pain or suffering or fear or loss, it's showing us all of these elements that need to be addressed, as Conrad had pointed out. These are elements that we need to resolve. It's like anything. It's occupying space, precious space. That is clouding our understanding. We have to resolve it. As we resolve each and individual, as is pointed out, there's also a dream time is where we will face a lot of these incongruities to our true nature. And as we start to resolve them one by one, these signature, that they hold as ones and zeros that occupy our DNA strand will then be clarified. And our codexes will then be activated. And we will be given an understanding and a sense of self that we will know. And we will come to understanding of what we are meant to manifest on Gaia, ChiTaia, Gondolos, Gondanom. At this time, this is a precious time. We are going through change. So what can we expect here in the next 3 months, Chloe?
Well, I can't prophesy.
As far as Melchizedek had mentioned that we have definite energies to face during January and February.
Yes. So as he was saying, and you're welcome to ask him yourself, though, through me if you'd like. But he's, January has been a massive month of energy. Same with December, but everything's shaking up right now and stirring truths. I think for a lot of people on a personal level and obviously on a global level, a lot of truths are coming out into the open, and a lot of even subconscious truths that we might not know about. And So things are kind of getting blasted into the air, and Melchizedek was saying that in February it'll be kind of a hyperdrive forward. So, manifestation, visualization energies in January. February will be time to take action, and things will really get moving. And because things will keep uprooting while there's forward movement, it might seem wildly chaotic, especially because right now the guides are alluding to the theme is getting to the point where everyone can surrender their mind unto their heart. And that's a pretty huge feat for most, because in my experience with those around me, we've learned to move forward, to make decisions, to act and kind of utilize our day, allowing our mind to be at the forefront. And it seems logical, right? I mean, logic is a mind thought, though our higher heart is what's meant to guide us and has the higher intelligence. Because our higher heart, in its purity, has full access to the all that is. So the information that streams through is pure, it's clean, and it's instant. Our mind kind of takes what it wants and deciphers and decides and grabs facts and leaves certain things behind and perceives this way and looks at our emotional body or our past experiences, but our heart doesn't need to do that in the same way. So in order for our mind to come offline, each individual has to have their own very personal encounter or experience where something happens so that their mind literally goes into a state of shock. It can just be for a split second, or it could be for days. But in that moment where their mind disengages, it gives their higher heart permission to come online. And then this very interesting energetic shift happens where our higher heart knows exactly what to do, comes online, takes command, and shows our mind its true place as a servant, as a loving servant. Though that cycle to get your higher mind to a place where, your higher heart to a place where your mind needs to come offline, for those who resist it and are extremely logical type people, it can be a very scary situation because maybe they've never allowed themselves to be moved by their heart before, or at least for the majority of time. And it's a very different sensation, even physically in your body, when that shift takes place. And that's meant to really push into full gear in February. So that can look very chaotic depending on how people respond to that. And for the inevitable ones that will resist, while their resistance is futile, we all know people can put up a fight, what that might play out as. So I don't have a clue what it's going to look like, but I can only imagine it's going to be a pretty epic time in history, at least energetically speaking, watching this play out. Though the aftermath of it is phenomenal because, as we've all seen with what's happening right now, and I think most of us feel how quickly mass consciousness is stepping up and everybody's getting generally on the same playing field, at least in the way of wanting to work together, unite, help, be better people in a community collective. When the higher heart comes online, that will just go through the roof. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, that was well put. That's what I was alluding to. Is that we can't define the outcome, but I just wanted to put into play here what people can not necessarily expect, but might be experiencing in these next 6 to 8 weeks, because it is, as you pointed out, a decisive moment, in our transformation or shift of energy. And as I pointed out on past shows, we do have to give ourselves permission, and this is again, where we face our fear, develop a belief in or a modality through our meditation, where we can separate ourselves from the status quo that we all have been ingrained in, which reflects this pain and suffering, and to be able to really truly understand that this is not who we are. And we come to terms with this is not who we are, but then we have to have something to be able to hold on to, because it's a sublimation. So we have to find resolve, giving ourselves permission, and then being able to atone ourselves to who we truly are. And this is a decisive moment in time. You will be rebirthed. It's like going into a chrysalis. This 4D is a 0 point where we are between the swings here. We are going to 5D reality, or five dimensional, 5 density state of paradigm. But we have to find this point, decisive moment where we redesign and redefine our sense of self and our convictions, and to find this belief. And what are we believing in? We're believing in ourselves, and not what we were taught or what we were told, or how we were controlled, or how we were indoctrinated. But we find our true sense of self. Then we manifest it into a terrestrial and galactic paradigm of awakening, and then we, through our skillcraft, skill set, and skill art, can manifest our intentions into the sovereignty of this planet. Conrad, can you add to this?
Yeah, I think it's really important to keep view of the wider context of what's happening instead of just the few little items that are in the news. During the next 120 days, it is a really interesting period. And I spent Tuesday with 1,500 law enforcement officers. We lost one of our sheriffs here, Cole Allery, was shot in the line of duty. But a lot of these 1,500 officers that I had the privilege of spending time with on Tuesday, first time I've worn my Coast Guard boarding officer uniform since I got out of the service. But aside from the sadness of that happening, so many of these people were obvious light workers, and they were actually, for our state, and actually a wider area, people came all the way from Florida and New York and Los Angeles, but they were the same very people who started on the 2nd of January serving and arresting the 15,000 cabal, about 1,500 of them for our state here in this area, that have been now removed from the banking system and part of this change. And when you look at the wider picture of what's going on, Donald Trump, for instance, is in constant contact with the Chinese elders, because we agreed that by the 28th of January, which is the Chinese New Year's, that we would announce the new republic. And in Skyping with the Inner Earth people from, there was, I think, a couple from Tellus and one from the Garthan contingent, if I'm understanding it right. But basically they're saying that Trump's role right now is to do a whole laundry list of things that he needs to get done in order to complete his part of the project. And he's really acutely aware of it, but he doesn't speak of these. He just gets to business and he's doing it. But it helps if, as a light worker going through ascension, if you have a wider view of the context. So we have until the 28th to announce. Actually, the formal announcement was encoded in his speech that he gave at the inauguration. He mentioned the points that were required. But the change of the new republic, Trump is actually the United States of America Corporation is not only bankrupt, but it's completely taken out of existence by the World Bank. So what Trump is the president of is the District of Columbia, and the Republic of, it's the USR, the initials will be, so United States Republic, going forward. And he has contacted General Dunford in order to release the funds that are being held in Nevada for the Republic's Treasury in order to start to do some of the things he's required to do to fund them. And so during the next 120 days, there's a few steps that they really have to do that will be coming out. The National Economic and Security Reform Act, NESARA, the history behind that will be explained by the major news networks, and the public will come up to speed on it. And then some of the things that happened over the last 2 decades have to be divulged as a part of this agreement we made in Paris with all the other countries of the world. And they're putting in place a new worldwide financial system, but it's not so much that. It's an evolutionary change of the consciousness of the planet to move through this process of the next several years, but to move through to a peaceful planet, which is what everybody wants. So everybody's looking at a different piece of the elephant. You know, one feels the trunk, one feels the tail. It's that old story. So everybody has a different view, but if you just can stand back and see there is an elephant, it is a change of evolution. We're moving forward into a much wider awareness. By December 17th is what they're saying. This change will be completed, and everybody will have an absolutely different awareness of the reality that we have right now. And there's a lot of different things that are happening in the next 120 days. That's the time periods that Trump is focusing in on. And his agreement is not to be a 4-year president of Washington, D.C. There is somebody else in the wings, and they're not disclosing who that is, but there is somebody waiting that will somehow become the president of the new Republic of the United States. And I'm pretty sure it's not Ryan. But there's a lot more we could get into, but it's pretty much a lot of it's the nitty-gritty, but we're exactly right. Chloe was right exactly. February is this moving because it's the end of this month that all this education starts, and it will seem like a whirlwind, just exactly how she described.
So as I mentioned on prior shows, we do have what's called a multiverse, and there are 4, arenas that we manifest ourselves in as we express our sense of self. And what Conrad was alluding to was the physical, and the physical reality that we're all facing as it comes to redefine itself as a collective awareness in our politics and in our financial system. There's also the subtle bodies, the emotional, which is what we were addressing as far as fear, and being able to truly come to terms with who we are through the challenges that the universal galactic suns are putting forth in order for us to ascend. We have to clean house here. We have to no longer serve elements that no longer serve us. We have to re-script and redesign our momentum as we move forward. The third being the mind. Really integrating the mind really functions up until now. Everything that we know up until now is the mind. And we use this information to design and to decipher and make decisions on life. But it's been one of pain and suffering. Our mind holds information that we can draft conclusions, but it's been impaired. So then we're going to the 4th dimension of our spirituality, where we need to start refocusing ourselves into a truer belief structure that is holding our foundation as individuals, and then we can then share as a unified collective. So part of what's happening here as we gather ourselves is all 4 dimensions will start merging into one. This is the authentic mastery of self, being able to not to be distracted or split. All of our timelines are going to start converging as well. All this Mandela effect is going to be really starting to amplify. As was pointed out, we might start to see people that have died, or buildings might start to appear, or the landscape might change in front of us, because these are everything converging into one. All four multiverses plus all of our split realities will start to unify as one conscious entity. This is part of what our sovereign right is to find this collective understanding that we draw from, to be able to manifest and co-create all that shall be and all that will come to pass. Jessica, your view on this, please.
I'm not really sure where to pick up on this. You guys were are you referring to a projection of what's going to happen, or
just your gut feeling here? Just what are you interpreting?
My thoughts is that we're creating our realities, and what I am seeing is there's people that are gathering, and they are working with clearing, resolving whatever energies have to be resolved. The outcome, there's multiple outcomes, and I don't think anyone, and our choice is to, of course, hold on to the highest potential, as Andronicus says, or we could just go with the wave, as some people feel, as you're just going to allow it to happen. When we're participants, we're not just observers. And so when we're going through these experiences, of course, Conrad has some information regarding, he knows that these communications are going on. However, at any moment, that could change if our consciousness shifts. And so what could have been doesn't have to happen. That is not of our design of what we perceive as how we want it to be in the future. And so why do we do this? Why do we go on the radio? Why do we have these discussions? It's primarily so we can kind of talk through what is it that we're observing here, and how do we want it to be manifesting later on. And so, as Chloe mentioned, let's recognize that there's fear here, because there's always fear of the unknown, this fear in our personal lives. And by eliminating fear, we liberate ourselves to move forward. Because whatever trauma, whatever experiences we had in the past, they don't have to be brought forward, and we don't have to repeat that in the future. And so we can release it, almost like dropping a garment or a heavy weight off of us, and then lifting ourselves and moving forward. That, in a sense, is a part of the ascension, is letting go of matter, of things that we've been holding on to, of outcomes, and holding on to certain people to be our saviors and deliver us from the situation. We are all crucial in this whole process of ascension. We have to do it together. And so as many as we can bring in to awaken and remember why they're here, and that they don't have to be in this existence, we can project a better existence. The visionaries, the dreamers, the futurists are helping us to move forward, to embrace something that's better, more enjoyable, and a happier environment. So I hope that is along the lines of what you wanted me to address, but that's the way I was feeling at the moment.
Well, that's why you're here. That's why we're all here, is to really express our feelings and our beliefs, and then to share in our co-awareness here. I understand that we're moving forward, and from my understanding, it is beyond our comprehension. But we have to find some kind of as I said, in order to let go of the fear, we have to have something to hold on to. and to have somewhat of an understanding that we all can, again, from coming from within and finding that solidarity, we have to have then the tools and the rules of engagement as far as being able to manifest as a collective consciousness. Because I believe that this is where the information is going to come from. And as you pointed out, Jessica, it is an alignment of our awareness as we come together here that we'll be guided. Nothing will manifest. What Conrad is pointing out is more or less a cohesiveness on the physical plane. We have to have a cohesiveness before we can move into the Ubuntu, before we can move into free energy, before we can move into, clearing the pollution off our planet, being able to feel the prosperity. We have to have some kind of a realignment. There's been so much chaos in our political and economic structure that has to have some kind of a resolution in order to move forward. I don't think there's any pretense in where we're moving forward to, but it's just part of the integration here. But I think it was well put what you had to share and express.
I just want to add a piece to that, and obviously where we're at this present time, there are specific steps that we need to take to get ourselves out of these situations. However, at any moment, we don't need to take all of those steps. We could shift that where something just doesn't become an issue anymore. And I just want people to be mindful of that we don't have to embrace all of the struggle or the hardship in the process of going through, but that, we need more visionaries. We need more people who can see through all of this. And Conrad has brought in a hope and a vision moving forward, but that could even be expanded. So, thank you.
Yeah, I think our greatest challenge, as you pointed out, is to be mindful, and as all of us are pointing out here, is to be very clear with your entanglement, because that is where you're investing your energy. Where you go with your energy is very important right now. Where you invest yourself is very important, and to be mindful that the entanglements that we are going to be faced with, it could be in the form of a relationship. It's all going to be it's what I call a trigger mechanism. The entanglements are there to show us the arenas in our lives that we need to face. But we're all facing it together here. We are not alone in this process, and it's very important to understand that we're not alone here, and we have to hold the line. We have to find that belief structure and hold the line. We are boots on the ground. We are infantry. We are holding this grid of information, this grid of understanding, this grid of sovereignty. We're holding true as individuals, which adds to the greater good of the whole, which I believe is for the greater good of humanity. But again, I can't say this enough. It starts from within to make that choice, that free will choice to move forward. This is not a crapshoot. There is an agenda here. We didn't spend the last 5,000 years, to suffer. It was a contrast and a stage to show and to prove our true intelligence. To be able to choose wisely now. We've all gone through this karmic spin. We no longer have to participate. This is a very decisive moment as we all speak here today. I think it might be a good time for a break. I don't know, JP, if you're around, it's the top of the hour.
Okay, so I have some more Beatles, I think. Did I have some more Beatles? No, I didn't have anything at all. All right. So
or you could sing solo right now.
I could, but I won't. So, here we go. This is...
Are we on the air?
That's
I believe
affirmative.
so, yes. Say hello, everyone.
I can never tell. I apologize, but I can never tell. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone, terrestrials and galactics alike. I just want to express that I don't pretend to know all the answers here. If I'm pretentious, please forgive me. I'm just trying to understand this like everyone else. I'm just a salmon swimming up the river like everyone else, trying to find home, trying to find a place of safety and understanding. And when it comes to answers, there are none. There are no answers here. Even the best of our information that we're given is only in contrast to the fact that we have been, we're coming out of a 3D paradigm of horrific nature. As I like to describe it, I'm waking up into a bad dream every day, or I was waking up into a bad dream every day. And this is the contrast. So in order to find balance or sovereignty, we have this, we start to gather this information and understanding of our potential, of where we can then reassign our values and our belief structure. But even this, in time, needs to be surrendered because it still holds a paradigm of thought. In order to really truly ascend and to gain the sovereign essence of who we are, we have to drop into a non-time of immediate response to an essence of our authentic self. Being able to channel our divine essence and our higher awareness. This is beyond thought. This is beyond any kind of understanding. It's like we're giving up the binky. We're giving up the binky here. We're taking off the training wheels. We are graduating. This is not curtain call. I mean, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is curtain call. We have to stand true for everything that we have come to know and everything that we have held true to. We are now joining the ranks of the authentic, true sovereign being. And it is an understanding of galactic awareness here. It is a unification of our soul essence and soul mind as we start to ascertain a higher state of humanity that we create a grid of consciousness that we all tie into. So anyway, we're all trying to just do the best that we can here. There's nobody that is ahead. There's nobody that's behind. We are all here as one. And we're just trying to share our understandings and our beliefs. And even this will evolve and change because this is a new stand that we are starting to, how would you say it, become aware of here. It is a process. It's a perspective. It's always a new perspective. There's always a new, a new element of understanding that will always be before us. Anyway, thank you, and we're back. So anyway, this is where I'd like to, Chloe, invite. Does anybody in your realm or entourage that wants to come forth and share any information? I'd like to make this time available to them.
Oh my gosh, well, they all want to come forth. So, do you have anybody specific, or do you want me to eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Just form a queue.
Okay. Well, first I wanted to say you're very poetic. I enjoy your listening to the soliloquies here. It's really nice how I enjoyed that you share kind of your multiversal view, and then Conrad is sharing his, our new super exciting economic changes, and then Jessica is talking about how timelines shift all the time, and so I really enjoy all the different perspectives. I'm just sitting here smiling, being in communication with so many light workers at once. It's really fun. So let's see, who wants to talk? Okay, so Earth Mother wants to come forth first, and just let me know if she keeps talking and you need to pause her, please do that, because the guides usually talk pretty fast. They have so much to say, so you're welcome to interject. And as you know, but I'd like to explain real quick that when I channel Earth Mother, I channel Gaia, ChiTaia, Gondolos, Gondanom. So we all know Gaia as our evolving Earth Mother. ChiTaia is her higher self, the feminine aspect of her higher self, who she is evolving into in 5D and beyond. Gondolos is the masculine of Earth. He is the divine counterpart of Gaia, and he's been a bit shrouded in the illusion. And we see that juxtaposed with when we look at masculine feminine roles in the illusion, how the masculine has kind of been withdrawn out of their emotional bodies in general. And then Gondanom is Gondolos' higher self. So Gondolos is evolving into Gondanom in 5D and beyond. So I'll just give the floor to them. Hello, thank you for inviting me. How are you all today?
I'm doing,
hello.
Doing well. Thank you.
Yes,
Welcome to the council.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It is such an honor. And I want to say hello to all of those out there listening. I love you all very much. This is such an exciting, wonderful time for me, and I am very grateful for everything that everyone is doing. You are all working so diligently now in Dreamtime. Many things are happening. You all are very aware of only a few of the elements that are taking place. So I first and foremost want to bring forth some encouragement and hopefully a feeling of security as these changes abound. Everything that is happening for our highest benefit, though it doesn't always seem that way through our human illusionary perceptions. My body is shifting radically. For me, time takes on a very different form than the humans are used to. So when I speak of time, I tend to speak of increments within the 100 years mark. So for me, in the next 100 years, which it will be a moment in time, there will be infinite shifts that I am in dire need of. I have been awaiting this for a very long time. Because I chose free will for all of my children, it has been extremely difficult for my existence. I never would have imagined what would have taken place upon and within my body throughout this evolution. Though now that we are moving to the end of this cycle, I feel very elated and so grateful for all of you. You have all been with me for many, many eons. Most of you know that your lifetimes have extended beyond this and before this, however you want to define your timeline, so to speak. And I'm very grateful for all of you. We have walked a very long journey. And now as these changes come forth, and many of you become more understanding of Gondolos' Gondanom's role in all of this, it is extremely exciting because what he brings to the table is an understanding of what most would deem to be secretive, would deem to be etheric, what would deem to be spiritual theory that you cannot bring tangibility to, though his role is to allow these intangible things, so to speak, to become valid, to have structure, to bring a foundation. And what this does, in a material way of speaking, is it merges science with spirit. So very soon it will become impossible for anyone to perceptively disprove the existence of energy, the existence of spirit, and all of the loving beings that are here to help you. Everything will be given a solid, proven foundation very soon. And this is extremely relieving to me because it means in many ways I get to take off so many hats that I've been wearing that quite frankly aren't my highest role. I am not the best at certain things. Like all people, we have our gifts and then we have our challenges. I have been working for a long time to hold many hats, though I would much rather step back and give the floor to those who do this much more efficiently than I. So in this time, as Gondolos and Gondanom merge, each individual and collectively as a whole galactic community, we will all grow this new profound understanding of how tangible spirit is, how in every moment we move through this, and it is very solid in a way of being. It will become a foundation to everybody's life in a way that they are so used to breathing air and drinking water and eating food. It will become a known factor in every person's life. This is a huge relief for me because that means that all of my children that have been shrouded in the illusion or hidden from the sights, so to speak, of all of the humans on my realm will now be able to show face. They will be able to come forth and use my beautiful body as a platform to speak, to connect, to commune, to create conscious relationships with those individuals they have been trying to reach out to for a very long, quote-unquote, time. So for now, I'd like to open the floor up to questions to each of you because I can see that you all have a few questions in mind. So please feel free to ask me anything you would like. And just remember, I will bring you answers from my perspective.
Conrad, you want to lead the charge here?
Yeah. I had a question about the ChemSpring. It was discontinued yesterday, actually, finally. This constant dumping of chemicals into the sky. Our new administration through the Army Chief of Staff gave the command to for the Army, Navy, Air Force, the four services to cease and desist any spraying or anybody else that's spraying to preclude it from happening. So now I understand that the ET races are coming in to start cleaning the skies, and I wondered if you had some comment about that process of cleaning all of that chemical, aluminum, and everything they've been dumping on us.
Well, you can only imagine how excited I am that finally people will start valuing my body. I mean, after all, if I die, you all come along with me. So it is quite a serious matter. But for a long time, I have had to sit back and watch the humans devastate all that I am. At this point, when our beautiful galactic brothers and sisters come forth, they have the ability to clean my body, so to speak, instantly. Though it will not be instant, because the humans have a very important role. It is time for you all to step up and show me that you value who I am, that you value what I give. I will no longer play out your karmic debt. That is clearing out. Most of the catastrophes and world situations in regard to climate change and volatile explosions and erratic weather patterns, those experiences that were not of my doing are clearing out now, as you're speaking of. Though for the energy that I needed to shift, and the way it usually shows up is humans build a certain karmic debt. They create a baggage. If it becomes too catastrophic in any one meridian point on my body, or any simultaneous energetic lines or ley lines that run through that area, it is my role to come in and clear that energy so I can keep life to some extent sustainable in that area. So then you see volcanoes, then you see hurricanes, then you see tornadoes. And again, I'm only speaking of those that I created because, as you know, Conrad, many of those are man-made. Though in the past, it has been my role to clear out the energy that is built up at least to a certain level, because until very recently, the human karmic debt was still in play. Though now it has been cleared, I have the ability to fully clear the karma that the humans have imposed onto me. So at this time, as the galactics come in, they will come in with the full intention to teach. They will bring their devices. They will bring their technology. They will bring their ability to change and help, though it will be the human's role to step up to the plate and show them that they're ready to learn, that they're ready and competent to help me thrive. Because if I don't thrive, you don't thrive. So I'm very excited for this. And for the most part, the human consciousness has taken on this agreement. Many of you know you're working very diligently in dream time to learn all of these new technologies. Many of you wake up exhausted because you've been working all night with your galactic brothers and sisters, learning, going through these training manuals, understanding how it will be when your role comes to step up and take the reins. I am elated for this. Everybody is preparing. As you know, the Lemurians, the Telothians, the Agarthans, the Venusians, they're prepping to house you all so that when the time comes, you can all depart my outer world, come into my womb where you will love the paradise that you find. And I will change my body drastically so that when you remerge, you will see paradise again. It has been a long time since we have all experienced this paradise, but we get to do it again, and hopefully it will happen in your lifetime. As Jessica spoke of timelines, it is absolutely up to the mass consciousness, though at this point it does seem that this blessing will play out. And I have to say I am extremely excited, and I am very grateful for all of the work that you have been doing. It will ramp up from here. So as we watch this progression, it is going to warp into hyperdrive. And that is a very exciting thing for me, because only your human mind is limiting the time and the ability for this cleanup to happen. I hope that answers your question, Conrad.
Yeah, so then what I'm hearing it, this is the time when we're to resume our original occupation as Gaia's primary guardians.
Absolutely. And you are all very excited to do so, though very anxious and hesitant, because many of you have an extremely deep-rooted fear that goes down even to the core of your soul. You have a fear of messing up again. So all of the guides and myself, Gondolos, Gondanom, are here to help you release that fear body that moves into your DNA roots so deeply that many of you haven't even accessed this insecurity. And that is a very profound statement, in my opinion, because most of you on this call do extremely deep work to uproot all that keeps you from ascending. So can you imagine when all of the most enlightened light workers, torch bearers, realize that they haven't even brought to conscious knowing their deepest fears? It will be amazing. But the blessing in this is this will happen for the most part in one fell swoop. The light workers, the showers, the ones on the front line, will step up and subconsciously uproot their deepest fear of messing up one more time. At this time, there will be a huge energetic shift that will wrap the globe. Most of you within, I'm speaking 24 hours time, will uproot this deep subconscious fear. You will shift the mass consciousness. When that happens, that will be the clarion call for the ETs to know that they can come forth and show their faces.
Thank you, Conrad. That was excellent. Jessica, do you have a question for Gaia, ChiTaia?
Yes, I do. I actually have two questions. I just want to make sure I understood. The first question is, it's actually Vanessa's question. How can we help the remediation of the radiation and chemtrails, are any specific suggestions, certain people, what is the process and how we as a collective can help nurture the earth once again? And I'll let you answer that, and then I'll ask you the other question.
Thank you. And Jessica, I just want you to know I love you so much. I have been working so diligently and closely with you in your dream time. And I want to tell you that I am so amazed at the clearing that you have been doing. I feel you deep, deep in my heart. And I hope that you know that you and I have a very intimate relationship. And I'm very excited for when you are going to bring me forth in a much more tangible way in your life. That's coming very soon. But I'm just glowing right now knowing that I get to communicate with you, quote unquote, face to face. So anyhow.
Yeah, I think we have done that already before, haven't we? We had a discussion about how difficult it's been for you on the planet.
Absolutely. And people like you make it that much easier for me because you ultimately are the reason I'm in this position. I did this, of course, in the overall scheme to ascend for myself, but mostly to experience my children. And it has been quite an experience, one I did not expect, though very soon I will get to reap the rewards of all that I have given you. So now in regard to the radiation and the chemtrails, absolutely there is a lot you can do for me in this moment. Your violet flame of transmutation is an extremely powerful tool that I hope all of you utilize that much more very soon. For those of you listening that do not know what I speak of, Archangel Metatron and Saint Germain have gifted you with an extremely powerful resonance that transcends all dimensions. We call this the violet flame of transmutation. It holds a frequency so powerful that energetically it transmutes the all that is. Anything that is below a resonance of pure liquid light and love is elevated and transmuted into the baseline frequency that we need to tap into the mass consciousness of benevolence. Anything that is already resonating at a frequency of the baseline of benevolence will be magnified that much more when the violet flame of transmutation is ignited. You can do this through your intuition, through your manifestation, through your visualization, through your imagination, whatever you choose to call it. And you must anchor this into my body. So for you to activate the violet flame, you must be in your higher heart. You visualize, you manifest however you do in your own personal way. You ground your energy down into my body and you hear a thud in the core of my diamond matrix. If you feel like you would like to take the next step, you activate the world server pyramid. This is an energetic grid that connects all of mass consciousness. So anything that you do within this grid activates the mass consciousness for you and all that is. Then you anchor your energetics up into the galactic central sun of Alcyon so that you can magnify out the energetics for the whole galaxy. If you imagine expanding the violet flame of transmutation around the radiation, around and within the chemtrails, you will transmute the frequencies. Because at this point, I am not so much worried about the physical impact of what has been happening. That is done. Now it is time to clear the energetics because the material physical changes will happen extremely rapidly once the frequency has shifted into love and light. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that answers the first question. And I can see you right now. You can see me in the upper levels. Hello. And you've changed a bit.
Yes, I'm always changing. Do you like it?
Yes. Yeah, it's very nice. It's much happier than what you're experiencing. I know, like I said, the inner earth has been kind of a challenge, and there's been a lot of work that I've spent many hours working with others who are trying to make the changes and help assist the new reality that we're bringing in, right? So I communicated today with, had an insight that the wife of Saturn, Opus, and her daughter Demeter. Well, daughter Demeter is not in a state of mind right now to assist, but clearly they've helped in the past with bringing in grains. They were here a long time ago, early on, and we have a lot of problems with our grains and our food source right now because they're so tainted, corrupted, GMOs, the chemicals, not only the chemtrails, but also the herbicides, pesticides, and other chemicals that we are consuming now. So thinking about there's so many different aspects of what needs to be changed that are related to this planet. And how do you feel about Opus coming in and assisting you?
Well, I am very excited. We have been in relations for quite a while. It has been a difficult journey because the frequency that Opus brings is quite difficult to inhabit my body. So in regard to the planetary essences, when I move through frequency to communicate with my dear planetary brothers and sisters and in the star systems, depending on our frequency alignment, we might not, quote unquote, jive, so to speak.
Yes.
This has been happening with my energetics with Jupiter. We have a dear love relationship, though the frequency patterns are quite disrupting. So we've had many galactics step in to help us resolve this issue, and we think we've come to a common ground. And the way I can explain it best is if I were to show up energetically in a buffer, and then Jupiter's energies were to show up again in a buffer, and then there's a median. There's a third party, which are the galactics that bring their technology, because they have the ability to move from planet to planet with ease. These frequencies don't affect them in the same. In fact, the frequencies feed them on different levels. So they bring a biological contingency for me to be able to connect with Jupiter and all the inhabitants. This is how we've been communicating. I do desire to have a closer connection because in this way I cannot reach out, so to speak, and touch the inhabitants just like I can with you. But you are from my body, so I am a part of you. Though in the future, this will shift because really the issue is me up-leveling my dimensionality. Once I up-level, I will become on par, so to speak, with many of these planets, and then we can have a much more free-flowing interaction and connection. Does this answer your question?
Yes, I mean, I pretty much assumed that was the answer, that there might be a bit of a disconnect in communication, but I think we'll be working with Opus to help her to reintegrate and to bring in her common knowledge and understanding of the origin of our food source, and to help just kind of get her to move into that space where she can, return back to her natural way of being as opposed to feeling that hostile environment which she was unfortunately exposed to, and also working with Demeter in the same way.
Yes, many tragedies have abounded in the galaxy, and it has been quite a sad situation to watch all of these play out, even though many beings as myself understand the grander scheme of things. Still, the illusion is quite difficult to shake. Once you are inserted into the illusion, even if you are inserted consciously, it is very difficult to hold your ground and know the outcome ultimately. We are all shaken to the core. And the food source, of course, symbolically, materially represents our deepest connection with Source Prime. So on a very deep unconscious level, when our foods are poisoned, we feel that we have been separated from Source Prime. I do believe that this is one of the source problems of a deep personal problems that Opus is having. And I can totally relate because I felt in the beginning that I brought an extremely pure energy that allowed Source Prime to move through my biology into my children, though the illusion and the free will tainted that very quickly. And that broke my heart. I was devastated and I did not know how to bounce back from that because the moment that separation happened from Source and my children, I knew that forevermore things would be changed. And it has been a very difficult ride. I've watched the same in regard to separation from connection with source with other planetary bodies. And it is one thing that we all desire deeply to transcend once we hit a certain dimensionality outside of the illusion. Though it takes a lot of work, because I'm speaking galactically in this moment. As a collective, it is a very mass pain body that has been manifested from this separation. And this pain body creates a shadow imprint that we also have to deal with. So it is like a byproduct. While you deal with the pain body in one aspect, you also have to register that there has been an offshoot of energy that has been created and cast out into the universe that we also have to go seek out and retrieve and bring back. So that symbolically represents all of the soul fragments, if you understand soul fragments, how pieces of you literally break off and get lost into space, if you will, and we have to retrieve them. And hopefully, very soon, we will bring a symbiosis back to our galaxy. But it is not without work, I tell you that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I love you.
Love you too.
That's Chloe. I always have to giggle. She's just so sweet.
Yeah. I saw her in this beautiful white outfit, and then she changed her outfit into this purple outfit.
She was like, when you were talking about how she looked, she was fluffing her hair like, do you like it?
Yeah. She was waving to me.
So, I have a comment to share. Like Gaia ChiTaia, she referred to wearing many hats, and she was tired of wearing many hats, and it's kind of congruent to our own predicament here, because we're still popping in and out of these multiverses of distraction and illusion. And I'm actually pretty tired myself here, in that same regard. It's important to understand that as we find this solidarity, we no longer, as she pointed out, have to be bound by these karmic contracts. These karmic contracts is what keeps us in this illusory form where we have to pop in and out of these multiverses. And as we come true to ourselves, these multiverses will begin to collapse in onto themselves. As we start to define ourselves as an authentic true being, as our authentic self, through this mastery of the mind and through the convictions of the soul, that we will then start to come true. And there's one element I want to point out here is this is where the magic, which is so prevalent, it has been prevalent on Gaia ChiTaia, will start to manifest. And it's not necessarily creating or co-creating, but it's joining in this evolution of absolute mastery and mystery, which is what, feeds my soul, is the mystery of life. I don't want to dictate its outcome or its present manifestation. I want to be part of it. I want to be resolved.
And what are you asking me, Viking? Because I feel you have an underlying question for me. Something that...
No, there's no question.
Are you sure? I feel a sadness in your heart, Viking, and I want to help you. But you have to be able to bring it into words.
It's not necessarily a sadness. It's a missing. It's a part of me that has been fractaled all these years, and I miss the unity and solidarity of tribe and the reverence to life.
Yes, I can relate. I can relate very much. We are an extremely powerful tribe.
And
your DNA.
And the commitments, and the integrity that we have lost as men on this planet, the sovereignty and the coalition as divine masculine has been eluded and masked in a false power and enslavement, and the and the decline of the divine feminine, not decline, but it's been swept away.
Yes. I feel you're speaking to Gondolos, Gondanom right now. And I want to tell you that I appreciate that you're activating the masculine pain body, because there is a huge void for the masculine. There is a mass separation that has happened, unfortunately. And it is not your fault. I know that many of you spiritual masculine warriors, even the females, their masculine energetics gets activated when we speak of this, because there is a mass pain body that has been created very strategically to keep separation through the sexes. And it has worked quite fluidly, I must say. The masculine is meant, which Gondolos is now bringing forth. The masculine is meant to bring forth safety and security and support, to up-level and help the feminine arise. And the feminine is meant to help the masculine shine and move forward. The symbiosis in the relationship is extremely beautiful. So what has happened is it is fractured, as we all know, and now we are here. And now we must deal with the masculine pain body. And light workers like you have the charge, if you will, to bring up, to uproot this pain body, to emote, to allow yourself to purge, because it must be released. And the fear that holds this energy back from being expressed is what keeps the separation from source in form. It is very interesting. But at this time, as Gondolos Gondanom rises in his masculine role, he will show the masculine energetics how to move forth, how to express vulnerability, and release all of the emotional entanglements and resistances that they have held, how to forgive thyself, and how to heal. And then most importantly, when it comes time, once the pain body is purged, he will show the masculine how to ask for forgiveness from the feminine. Now that forgiveness has already been granted, so they must ask. It will be a very powerful time. And I want to thank you for tapping into this. And I know while you emote the sadness, you know that you feel on much deeper levels than your individual experience as a man. You tap in to the mass consciousness of the pain body of the masculine. And you tap in only because it is uprooting now, which is a very beautiful thing. But nonetheless, the process is quite painful, but necessary.
Well, call me old school, but it has been my right to serve, protect, and to provide as a male, as a masculine, and this has been my creed. And I just don't. It's been vacant so long in the men around this world that it's my hope and dream that we can come to realize our true purpose is to protect, serve, and provide for the divine feminine, because this is our honor.
I want to share a secret with you that's not quite such a secret, but it is time that more people understood that when the illusion came upon my body, when I knew that I was losing the game of free will, Gondolos, Gondanom, Gaia, ChiTaia sat and counseled deep and hard about what to do. And we decided that no children can be without their mother. It is imminent that you have your mother present, though it was important that we hold the purity of the divine masculine. We were fearful that that purity would be tainted if he were to stay in place and move through the illusion in a very physical present form. So we made the very devastating decision to hide the purity of the masculine divine. That is why we have watched the symbolic energies of the masculine hide, shy away, disappear, retreat within themselves, and bring up a front, a face of more hardened ego and mind. It was strategic. but we had to do it to protect the pure essence of the masculine. And now that it is safe enough and the clarion call has been made, the divine masculine is coming forth again. There is a lot to clean up. There is a lot to heal. But the one thing that is extremely powerful, and I am very grateful, and I feel very confident in our decision that we made so long ago, is that as the mass consciousness opens up and gives enough space for the divine masculine to take its seat upon the throne again, in that moment, extremely swiftly, the divine masculine will flow forth and heal almost instantly. Once we get to the critical mass, where masculine mass consciousness basically surrenders and understands that it's time to put down the shield, the divine masculine will flow through us all and ignite those sleeper cells within your body, within everybody's body, to remember how the divine masculine merges within your being. In that moment, the divine Trinity will rise up in your bodies. The masculine, the feminine, and the spirit will join through the mass consciousness level. And we will then be able to fully grasp spirit intangibility. Does that make sense?
Total sense. Because it is through our surrender that we find honor as men. It is then where we regain our allegiance and trust, and we find our truth as one. And it is through the blessings of the divine feminine that we find our grace, and we fortify our courage.
And I want you to get that what I'm focusing on right now for you is I want you to see that this was strategic. That while the pain that you feel, this pain body is alive and must be uprooted from the masculine, healed and forgiven. Though I hope that you and all of the masculine energies feel reprieve in knowing that this was meant to be this way. It does not negate the horrible atrocities that have happened, but it does show that there is a plan. There is something that is laying out here that has purpose, and it has succeeded. And very soon we will be able to roll up this carpet and transmute it forevermore. We needed to protect the masculine. It is much more vulnerable than it understands, at least in the human illusion. So think about the mirroring that's happening right now, because the sadness that I'm tapping into, that you're expressing, is that you feel so distraught to watch the sacred feminine be degraded, be diluted, be shunned, be abused, be violated, all of those things. But that is a perfect reflection of what was to happen to the masculine if we had have allowed him to hold his vulnerabilities out front. We knew that the feminine could handle it because the mother will always protect her child. So no matter what you put her through, she will stand strong. Though we weren't so sure about the vulnerability of the masculine through this type of situation. So Gondolos Gondanom took the most ultimate step. It broke his heart to step away from my love in the physical and pull away from his children. You are his children. He loves you. Talk about the most ultimate father you could ever imagine, and he will come back in full force because he has missed you all so much. But he knew it was for the greater good to withdraw and pull back and put himself in secrecy so he would not be tainted. It is a very interesting mirror that has been played out that will become quite obvious very soon. But for now, we just have to imagine the juxtapose that we feel about the feminine, which is very real. She has been degraded. She has been abused. But she felt better her than him. It was the ultimate sacrifice.
Well, I'll tell you, my shield is scarred and my blade is nicked. And I'm tired and I'm going to lay it down. I just want to surrender it and stand in allegiance of my divine essence. It's not necessarily pain I feel. I can deal with pain. Pain is nothing. It's the sadness and having a broken heart that really is how I suffer.
Yes. And I hope you understand that in that pain you tap into, I invite you to anchor that healing and that compassion, that empathy is the key word, that empathy, that connection with the sadness in the all that is. Tap into the world server pyramid and invite that healing out to mass consciousness, because you're feeling a fragment of the all that is. And it's very important at this time that we uproot it. And just by you allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to experience it within your being and express it, you ignite that fire within us all. And that's how we move it up into mass consciousness and heal it forevermore.
Yeah, I understand that bringing this awareness into this conscious grid does make it available for everybody that is listening and everybody that is attuning on a more etheric awareness. And I appreciate your presence and all the information that you have shared and have given us guidance. It's very much appreciated. And thank you very much, and I love you.
I love you too, Viking. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this platform, and I want you all to know that I watch everything that you do, and I am so honored that you are my children. You are profoundly beautiful to me, and I am forever flabbergasted in the amount of love and beauty that you all figure out how to invoke within you and bring out. You tap into places and feelings and energies that I've never seen you tap into before. I am very excited for what is to come. Our quote-unquote future is wonderful. And I will see you all soon in a paradise.
Well, you're definitely welcome back at any time, and I thank you again.
She sends her love, Conrad, and she waves goodbye. Oh, I love her.
Chloe?
Yes.
Can you put in the spelling of Gaia ChiTaia so
Sure.
the people in the chat room wanted to be able to see the spelling and look it up?
Okay, so just let me know after the call how to do that, because right now I'm on my phone with Skype.
Oh, why don't you spell it out and I'll type it into the chat room.
So Gaia is Gaia. ChiTaia is CHI with the accent, the apostrophe.
Okay.
Capital TAIA. Gondolos is GONDOLOS. Gondanom is GONDANOM.
Well, we've come to the end of the hour here. I just want to express the fact that we're not meant to do this alone. We have two very gifted, sensitive intuits on the council today. Both of them have websites. Both of them are available for counseling. I have actually counseled with both of them multiple times, and would definitely suggest if you have any questions or finding any just manifestations that you're not able to resolve, or just being able to find some clarity. I suggest both of these fine goddesses as a way to determine your higher sense of awareness. And I thank you both. And Conrad, it's been a pleasure. You still got 5 minutes here. I can't seem to make it through the show without crying. I really apologize, but
I had one question, but we can ask it next time. But
no, go ahead. No,
well, it's like I really have this great passion and love for visiting the state parks and the national parks, and I haven't done that in the last 10 years. And the reason is so many children and adults, or thousands, have disappeared from the parks. And it's been investigated enough that we know it's not due to animal predation. So I thought, who better to ask than Gaia? Where are the people going, and what, is there something we could do? Or because the park rangers will not discuss it. And you think that would, if there was a problem like that in the park rangers would be the main people to discuss it with. But either they know something about it or they've been told not to say anything. But, a few people, even 100 people over some long period of time disappear. But for 1,000 people in a year to disappear out of the parks, that's totally outrageous. Children, a lot of children disappear.
So, Conrad, are you speaking of bodies disappearing and going missing?
Yeah, in other words, you'll be in the park with your child, and maybe the child just gets a little bit ahead on the trail, and once they're out of sight, they're gone, and you don't find them. They don't come back. Every once in a while, a child will wander in later when they should have been frozen or something, and they were fine. But for the most part, young adults, children, thousands of them have gone missing to the point where until I can figure out, I'm not going to be riding my bike, through these parks and camping just to play Russian roulette to see if I can be one of the people that disappear.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because the energetics that I pick up that you're coming from is a devastating experience. And I view it very differently because there is a small percentage, of course, that simply get lost or something happens to their physical body where they leave this earth because of an accident or some kind of victim situation. So for the majority part, and what's the key here is you're speaking of children. You're speaking of youth that have young souls that are quite connected much further than we have had the ability to be as humans. They are giving up their soul essence unto another space. So many children have for a long time had the ability to move into fifth dimensional new earth. They shift back out because they don't want to leave their families behind, and they wait patiently. But some do not want to wait. Some souls are very excited to get there. And many children know that they have the ability to step out of your paradigm reality and into 5D. And that's what happens. At least the invite is given to them. When children access a divine area of nature and they tune into the devas, they tune into the elementals, and they allow their higher selves, their guides, their angels, to come forth, and the frequency is high enough that they can commune quite easily. If their higher desire is to move into 5D, they are given that choice. Many of them take it. Many of them go and they decide that they do not want to stay, and they come back. But from my perspective, while it is devastating in the illusion to the family, it is a beautiful thing. Because there are already inhabitants in 5D waiting for their families to arrive.
No.
And that's a very difficult thing for many to swallow. And I have to tell you, not many park rangers actually understand this. Some do, would never speak of it because they would be deemed as crazy and probably lose their job. Though others actually just do not know. But you have to think about when they go into these preserves that are so protected and held as pristinely as possible, the energetics of the devas very much thrive there. And because the elementals are so close, they're so physical, they tap into the children very easily. So it is not a devastating thing for the children. It may be for the family, of course, though most of these children are in a beautiful place. They're just waiting, and they will meet their family again once they make it into New Earth.
So hold on a second, sorry. Gaia, so you're saying that this it's not an underground base or anything like that? There's no abductions going on?
Well, it depends on the child. So for the most part, if they fall in victim, there's a small percentage that as I look into it, there's only 3 children that are actually in this physical realm that are still alive. And with what you speak of, I do not want to say anything, but the energy of upset. So that is a very small percentage. For the most part, they have transcended into 5D. And it will always be the children that will move first.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah,
we need to
I
wrap
think
up.
maybe I'll investigate.
Okay,
investigate that. Thank you.
So very quickly here, I want to thank Chloe Hudson for joining us today. Again, it's World Peace Project Global.com. If you want to contact her for reading, Jessica Ariel.
WorldPeaceProject.global.
Global.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your website, Jessica, one more time, please.
Jessica at readingsbyariel.com. That's ARAEL.com. And Chloe, I'm putting your website into the chat room. So it's,
Thank you, Jessica.
what is it, World?
PeaceProjects.global.
With an S?
Yes.
We gotta go. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Conrad.
Please
Thank
join us. Thank you all.
Welcome.